ਇੱਕ ਓਮਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ। ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ, ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ। ਭੂਲ ਛਿਮੋ ਹਮਰੀ ਪ੍ਰਭਾਪ, ਭੂਲਨਹਾਰ ਕਹਾਂ ਕੋ ਮੁਸ, कमाले करामात कायम करीम, रजा बख्श राज़ रिहा को रहीम, अमा बख्शो बख्शन देओ दस्तगीर, रजा बख्श रोजी देहो दिल पजीर, शहनशाह खूबी देहो रहनुमू, के बेगूनो बेचूनो चूबे नमू, न साजो न बाजो न फौजो न फर्श, खुदावंद बख्शन देओ ऐशर। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। The understanding of human spirituality is probably most confusing to us all. We live in different planes. We have a physical plane. We have chores and family to attend to and commitments we have made. And we have a mental plane, emotional plane, and then the plane which is furthest from us all, the spiritual plane, where our spiritual reality is hidden from us and we don't know what we really have within us. What does our spirit contain? We always have to do something in this world to exist. We need to make an effort. For everything we do, we have to make an effort, a plan. We have to learn. So there is a lot of doing involved in surviving in this world. If our needs are less, if we don't have much to ask for, if we don't want much, then maybe we do less, but we still need to do. And in the West, these two concepts of doing and being exist. One who does and one who is without doing. Being is to relax, to be not in the state of doing something. As a rule, the male part of our creation is more inclined to doing. They want to solve the problem by doing. The female part is more passive and is more observant and is less inclined to quickly do. But that is how our nature is. That is how psychology has developed over the years, and the human being, to survive, has created these instincts. Because the human being was the hunter, he was the one who got the food. So his instincts are different. But let's understand the subject of human spirituality, of our own spirituality. One question is, what is the need for spirituality? That's an apt question. We can address that later. But for our spiritual words also, there's a small story about a saint who had a disciple who would keep bothering him with this question, what am I to do to achieve realization, to know myself, to know God? What am I to do? He keeps asking him. So one day when he was sitting with his disciple, the saint told him, how are you breathing today? So the disciple was a little shocked and he said, what do you mean by how am I breathing today? He says, no, I want you to be very alert on your breathing. You must breathe. If you don't breathe, you don't survive. Isn't it? You breathe, so you live. If you don't breathe, you don't survive. So you must make an effort to breathe. You must be alert. You must breathe deep, breathe out, breathe in. Be very aggressively monitor this doing process. Do this breathing. The disciple quietly heard what was said, but his life became a big hell. For the next 24 hours, he was doing only breathing. Something which was happening on its own some time ago has become an effort. And he woke up the next morning ill. He was not well. And he was scared. If I stop breathing, what will happen to me? I will die. It is because of my breathing I am. And he goes to his saint, the Guru, and tells him that I am miserable, I will die. I am to breathe, and it's such an effort to do this breathing. And if I stop breathing, I'll die. The saint said, yes, you will die if you stop breathing. But till I asked you this question, who was doing the breathing? Till I raised this question to you yesterday, you must breathe. You must be conscious of your breathing. Till that time, what was happening? Before that, how was your life? He said it was perfect. I said, then what was happening at that time? Who was breathing then? Before you started this effort of I am to breathe, all these years that you've lived with me, who was doing this breathing? And the disciple was completely stunned and he said, I'm not aware who was doing this breathing. The saint said, just like that, perfection, our source of happiness, our source of where we come from, it's effortless. You don't have to do it. It's already there. But you keep asking me this question, what am I to do? He said, go out in the garden and look at the garden, look at the flowers, and get me one which you find beautiful. And he gets him one of the nice chrysanthemums, azaleas, something he really likes. And the saint says, have a look at this flower. Do you see any imperfections in this flower? And the disciple says, I can't make out any imperfection. It's very beautiful, it's very shapely, it's very perfect. It's very beautiful and attractive. So do you know why these flowers exist? He says, because they need to survive, they need to live. He says, yes, but why? They live because the bees have to come to them. So if creation has made flowers so perfectly, why do you doubt your own creation? How are you made? Do you think nature did a folly, a mistake with you? That it creates perfection everywhere, but with you it has not created perfection? You keep asking for achieving realization, seeing perfection, seeing God, finding that happiness which is unconditional, love which is unconditional. Do you think nature has made a mistake with you when it has created such perfect flowers? Would it create an imperfect you? And if he did not create the imperfect you, then where is the perfect you? What is the need for you to search, seek, wander, to find yourself when your perfection lies within you? What is this need for us all to seek this perfection? And where are we seeking it? And where does this lie? Nature is a creative paradise. We've heard so many news recently about forests being cut. I was listening to a professor who was obviously a forest officer for many years. And he said that these are perfect forests which we are cutting. And what we are saying is that we will create these forests. He said the human audacity to say that we will create forests is completely nonsense. The human being only intervenes and destroys, never creates. It's nature who creates the human being. What is the very existence of a human being without nature? And these forests are created by nature. You just don't intervene and they will take care of themselves. Each tree is 200, 300 years old. How will you create them? Who are you to create them? These forests exist, he said, for so long that many like those who claim to have created these forests have come and died and become dust of these forests. Such is nature. There is perfection all around us. There is perfection within us. There is harmony, there is love all around us and within us. But we doubt it. We doubt this surrounding element. Guru Nanak Sahib calls this hukam. He says there is a hukam in all of creation. There is a flow of this hukam. There is a presence in this hukam. And all creation is hukam. I think one of the most confusing things which we all face is the understanding of the concept of hukam. And actually it's not the understanding. It's the knowing of hukam which is more relevant. Maharaj has given this hukam as an answer to the most apt or intense question in the Guru Granth Sahib. How you will reach your creator? How will the wall of falsehood around you, this corrupted wall, break, go away? How will it all happen? He says, hukam radai chalana. Walk the steps of the hukam. Walk the steps of the Creator's perfection. And whatever is your role in this life, Nanak likhya naal. What is written in your booklet, your mind, your orders of your mind? You keep those with you. Those are to be lived in a different plane. So both the hukam and what is written in our own individual booklets, where we have all the karma written, that is with us. These two are to be lived, and they are two different planes. In the Nanak Likhya Naal, Maharaj says, you have to do. You have to chalo, you have to walk. Hukam razai chalana, do. Nanak likhya naal, and accept what is written for you. Now, for us to understand what is hukam, what is to be changed, what is not to be changed, what is to be accepted, this becomes confusing. Something which changes with me, within my family, within my life, within my work, within my social circle. Should I accept it, not accept it? Should I fight it? Should I struggle for it? These are the balances of doing and being. When we don't do, we be. Some of these words which are given to us by the Guru Granth Sahib, amongst the first one is the hukum, and the other is sahaj. Then there is one word called kar. And the fourth one, which is most apt for us to understand hukum, for us to live hukum, for us to know hukum, is thir. When will I be thir? Guru says, man thir raho, mat kat jaye jiyo. Thir kar baiso, हर जन प्यारे, सतगुर तुमरे काज सवारे. This perfection, this wandering, this solution to our life, this answer to understanding the whole creation, the answer to understanding myself, answer to the solutions of my own problems. Everything you put into one baggage. And he says the solution to all of it starts with thir. Man thir raho. Can we make the mind thir for even a moment? For even a fraction of a second, can we be completely stable, sound, thir, non-moving? Guru has not tied the creation with the time. It is timeless. And Maharaj says even one pal, 1 second, one fraction of a second, where I get connected consciously, because we are all connected unconsciously. There are 4 stages in the Guru Granth which are mentioned of our mind phase. Jagrat, Supan, Sukhopat, Turiya. Jagrat is when we are physically awake. When we are awake and the man is a special state of being. And that requires a certain understanding of connection to the Guru. Certain tirtha, stability. Maharaj says Jagrat Supan, then this sleep state where we dream. And Sakhopat is the third one. In the Jagrat and Supan, the ego, the me, the I, is the dominant platform. In the Sakhopat, it gets dissolved. Sakhopat is the deep sleep, where I have even no dream, no movement. It is thir. The man is actually thir, unconsciously thir, without doing thir, without knowing thir. We don't even know we have become thir. We don't know we are connected to our own source. Sometimes you sleep for 10 minutes and we feel we've slept 8 hours. Sometimes we sleep 8 hours and we feel we haven't slept at all. We've found no rest. The rest comes from this Sakhopat avastha. The man gets connected to its own source unconsciously. We don't even know it's connected. But that's how life exists. We all exist because of that Sakhopat state. If we are not able to go into the Sakhopat state, we cannot live. Not even for a day. We can live without food. We can live without water, even without breath to some extent, but never without the sleep of Sakhopat. We don't know this Sakhopat state. To bring this Sakhopat state into the conscious level, that's the realization, where we have connected to our own source. like the mind gets dissolved in its deep sleep and the ego falls unconsciously. If that falls consciously in the awakened state, then that person has transcended death and found his or her own source. That's why we see this need for us to do comes from this urge of trying to solve our problems in doing. What kriya should I do and I will become realized? What way should I sit straight, sit at an angle, hang from the upside down? What do I do? Because without my doing, nothing happens. So I have this deep need to keep doing. But is doing a requirement? Because the perfection of life is created by around us and within us, without us, everywhere, without our effort. The heart is pumping for years, day and night. We have no involvement in it, and God forbid if we did, we would probably fail miserably to making it run. Something is making things happen without our effort. Someone, something, some energy, some force, some intelligence is creating perfection. But we can't find our own perfection. Perfection is all around us, but we can't find our own perfection. That is our misery. And what is the reason we can't find it? It's because we are trying to seek it. We already have something we are trying to seek. We are trying to find something which we already have. Something which we already have within us. We are trying to find it outside. Everything in life, all our confusions, all our chaos, all our pressures, stresses, all of it put in one baggage. And we sit with that baggage so quietly that we are completely stable, no thought within us. And the baggage will be gone. That is how far perfection is from us. All our miseries, problems, pains, ironies, regrets, all of it put in one baggage. And we sit so silently with it that we have no thought. And there will be no baggage left. Life is making us do when we don't need to do. That is why I chose this subject, not doing anything. Perfection is there all around us without our doing. But we need to do because we are feeling incomplete. We are feeling stressed. We are feeling pained. And the most difficult part of creation of our lives is confusion. If death was a certainty, we would find peace. If death is not a certainty, we are completely confused and it drains us completely. Because we then wander within hope and hopelessness. This hope and hopelessness is our wandering. We are hoping for perfection. We are hoping for love. We are hoping for happiness. And in our hope, we are hopeless. Because that which is already with us, we are hoping for it. we have not understood what our own mind carries with it. We have not understood the nature of I and creation. We have not understood that this lifespan which I hold in front of me, the problems and all the issues which are surrounding me, constantly one after the other, none of them are giving me solutions. Where do those answers to this life problems lie? The confusions lie. Will it be solved? Will it not be solved? What will happen next? If it gets solved, I have another problem. If it doesn't get solved, I rot in the misery of this one issue for a lifetime. I find no escape. And where is the escape? Where is the understanding of life? Where is the reasoning of these problems? And are these problems, these issues of life, forever? Are we forever? What has life given us and what are we chasing? We are trying to find happiness. We are desperate for happiness. We are also lonely. In our own thought world, we have become very lonely. We don't communicate. Solitary minds become sinkholes. They make us sink within ourselves. They are collapsing minds. They are not expanding minds because they are confused. Confusion is the worst drain of energy we can get. Worst. And we live with confusion all our lives. And we don't know what Bani is saying. We don't know what Guru is telling us. We only know the words. We don't know the experience. There is the main question. And then what is the need for Guru? And what is the goal of this life then? All my lives I will leave these problems, and then what will happen? Where will I go? What will happen to me tomorrow? How will I survive? What about death? We don't even think of death. We are so absorbed in our day-to-day problems, day-to-day miseries. Death doesn't become a question for us. We think this is our life and this is what we need to live. So the mind is constantly churning, constantly wandering. And there the pain is intense. And then we avoid the pain. And the more we avoid pain, the more pain will come. Whatever in life we don't face will keep increasing. Whatever we suppress will increase. What do the Gurus tell us about life? Is maybe very difficult for us to fathom as of now. But a good beginning is to understand that if I can find the source of my thoughts, that where are they coming from, then I may be able to switch them off. Finding the source will tell us that these are not a permanent reality. They are coming from my own ego mind, and they do not have a permanent presence with me, which is actually happening. All our lives, we are constantly churning in thoughts. Good, bad, ugly, negative, positive. In all religions, which I have studied, I found Taoism to have the same hukum concept. When they call Tao as the creation of the entire world, Lao Tzu is the creator of that religion in China. Maharaj says there is a hukum, but we don't know hukum, Maharaj. How I will know hukum? Guru gives us one thought or two. One is to search within the mind. इस मन को कोई खोजो पाई. Search within it. बंदे खोज दिल हर रोज. What will you search? What will we search? We will search these thoughts because we don't know the mind beyond the thoughts. And when we observe the thoughts without participating in the thoughts, they will drop. This is an important point to note, because this is our doing part. Since we don't know not to do anything, we know only doing and thinking constantly as our existence. So we have to do to get away from this state which we are in. Otherwise, dropping the thought, dropping the mind is a question of observing the mind. So, can we become thir? In this lifetime, can we have this realization that mind state, there is a state where there is no thought? This is a very important target in life, because here the possibilities become immense. One. Secondly, this is where we find absolute peace. The peace comes only when our thoughts go away. What is troubling us more than our issues are our thoughts, the fears, possibilities, the confusion, and the chaos. Death is not as fearful as the confusion of death, thoughts of death, and the imagination of death. That is all we know about death. We don't know death in reality. We only know our own confusion, our own chaos, our own misunderstandings of life and death. When we know death, that's a different paradigm altogether. Then we know our mind. If we can search the mind, then we are actually searching for our own death. And we are seeing what happens at death. Because the mind gets dropped at death. It stops doing. And if we stop doing, then we know what happens at death. What is life today for us? It's our body, family, society. This whole idea of this exercise of our careers and businesses and families and society and friends and foes, and this is all that there is life. And where is this taking us? Where does this physical life actually take us? It takes us to hell. Because this life, according to Jean-Paul Sartre, this is the other life. We live this life with reference to the other. His car is bigger than mine. His house is bigger than mine. His children have achieved more than me. These are our thoughts about life. And in this comparison, we create our own targets of defeating the neighbor or the brother or the friend. So in some ways, there are no friends here, because we are referencing ourselves from the other. Who am I is with reference to the other. Hell is the other people. And we live this life subjective to the other people. If there is no other people, there will be no life like the way we live it. A major portion of our life is defined by where and how and who we know. And we keep referencing that, Maharaj. Who am I is actually the other person, not me. If the other person changes, I change. If the race is dropped, everything is gone. I stop running this race. I stop running. So I will not run this race. I don't want to win or lose. One saint says this. He says, you can never defeat me because I'm already lost. I'm not running the race with you. My life is not defined by you. Who am I? Where am I coming from? Where am I going? What is the source of my pain? What is life's confusion? Where are these answers? फिर कर बैसो हर जन प्यारे, सतगुर तुमरे काज सवारे. This is one line. Meditate on this. Dhyan. Dhyan starts when we stop thinking. Till as long as we are thinking, we are flowing in thought mind. Moment our thought mind drops, we are in dhyan. And dhyan means consolidated intense energy, mind energy. And the mind is created by whom? By the Creator. And our thoughts are created by whom? By me. So the imperfection of the mind are the thoughts of the mind. It's not to say that thoughts are a wrong thing. Thoughts are a tool. We use thoughts to analyze. If you ever read Socrates, the Greek mythology, and the way they arrive at these theorems, that all Euclidean geometry is arriving through philosophy, the doctorate, PhD. This word comes from the Greeks. A lot of these words which we use in today's idiom are coming from the Greek mythology. Cynicism. School of cynics is a Greek school. So the thoughts are a tool, but we don't know how to use this tool. We are being burnt in this oven by these thoughts. And the reason for that is his desire. We desire something. And the reason for that desire is our imagination that desire holds our happiness. This is all how our life is flowing. We imagine this is how we will be happy. I wish I have this relationship. I will be very happy. What happens post that is a separate story. But that is our imagination. We imagine and we live through that experience in our imagination. The relationship could actually be good. But it is our imagination which is defining life for us. Whether it is actually good or bad becomes immaterial if our imagination takes over. And after some time, we get bored of it. Our imagination is no longer controlled by that relationship. It may be good, but we've lost connection. That is how we are. And then we imagine how the next thing will give me happiness, and then the next, then the next, then the next. Only this happens. I remember when we were growing up, every year was our imagination. In our imagination, that year was the most critical year. 9th, 10th, 11th, every year was a critical year. That is how the pressure of society is built upon us. And that is draining. But what does the human mind hold within it? If a flower in a garden is so perfectly created, assuming the human form, the human creation is more flavored, more empowered, then what does the human life hold within it? What does my life hold within it? What can I find to find my solutions, to find my answers, to find my ways from my confusion? Where do I find these answers? And then I go seek a guru. I'll look at a body, clothes, a judgment of a guru is as haphazard as our judgment of our own life. This one person I met, she says, there is no life after death. So how you are so certain? Either you have died and known it. How can it be your certainty? Maybe you are right. You can say, maybe there is no life after death. But what if there is? And how you are so certain there is nothing? Have you seen beyond death? Because if you have not, then you are making as big an error as I am making when I am saying there is life after death. What is the wandering of the mind carry with it? Maharaj has, in very few places, but very intensely explained to us that the mind's stability, the man's sthirta, the man's stillness holds the answer to our intense pain. All our problems, the solution lies when we can hold the mind still for even a second. एक पल खिन एक फिनते आयो, काल फास के बीच ना आयो. एक पल जिन एक खिनते आयो, एक खिन, 1 second. That person transcends death. It is very far away for me to talk about gurus' lives because those are actually different world lives, in a sense that we are very far away from what guru's vision and living of life is. But we are very close to our own mind. We are very close to our own pain, our chaos, our need to keep thinking, keep doing. So assuming there are two planes, one plane is the thinking mind, and one there is a mind which does not think, where there are no thoughts. Have I got the ability to transcend my thinking mind and go into non-thinking mind? If I can find that somewhere, then that holds a very big potential of not only my present life, but all my baggages of life. all my future. One thing which is very creative about spirituality is that it talks about timelessness. Sada. In spirituality, if you found a solution, it's not temporary. That's why it takes us so many lifetimes to find it, because once we find it, it's forever. The happiness is forever, the love is forever, the meeting is forever, and there is no conflicts, because in the thinking world, opposites define life. Good is defined by bad, high is defined by low, far is defined by near. Good, the rich is defined by poor. Beauty is defined by ugliness. So it is all interdependent. No creation will exist in absolute, in the physical sense. That is why in the physical reality, it's not that perfection which we are seeking doesn't exist in the physical. Happiness exists with sorrow. Pleasure exists with pain. So when we go and seek one, we have to be accepting the other. So hukam or thirta has to do with an attitude of acceptance of life. Whatever there is, everything that there is in my life, all the confusion, the pain, the sorrow, everything, I accept that it is there. Whether it goes away or not, let's leave that aside for some time. I accept it as it is. I am a baggage of these miserable and some happy moments put together. And then once I accept, I go beyond them. Because all this struggle of my life is to resist this pain, to resist these confusion, to say that I am not going to be painful, I am not going to be unhappy, but they are all surrounding me. All these emotions are defining me constantly. But what if accepting them helps me go beyond them? Accepting my life as it is, with all my errors, my problems, all the wrongs and rights which I've done, everything put together. I accept. I am an erroneous person. Because all of us are erroneous. Life in the physical, for humans, we are all erroneous. This is how the ego is. Ego is an imperfect creation. And it is pain and pleasure put together. That is why he says that transcending the ego is understanding of life. And I cannot transcend the ego on my own. And that's a very far away reality. This is how, when we look at Guru's lives after this, understanding the concept of the man, of thir and kar, permanent. What is kar? We have our houses, we call it kar. But these are not our houses. This is a very nice Sufi tale, and he says, enters the Sufi's room and he says, he finds no furniture to sit. So he asks him, where is your furniture? So the Sufi retorts back to him and says, where is yours? He says, but I am only a visitor. So am I, says the Sufi. We are all visitors. From all this life, what will we take away? Think about it. We are all visitors. These relationships will not go with us. Because we ourselves are, hum aadmi hai ekdam hi. We are, the next breath we don't know where it's coming from. What will happen? The next moment we don't know. And all this which we are trying to perfect, which we are trying to say, let's solve this, then solve this, then solve this, what will this experience give me? What is it giving me? It's giving me a journey of a lot of changes constantly around me, for which I have to keep making an effort, keep doing. And so in my spiritual sense also, I want to keep doing. What if there is a situation where I can find ekagrata? Ekagrata means ik. When the thought becomes one, there is no doubt, two. There is no movement. And there's so much peace. There's so much stability, calmness, with all the confusion, with all the problems. All these family situations, business, career, education, all this is going where? This is like we put fuel in our car for a journey. It's to be used in the journey. But where is the car going? Where is our life going? We need to have a certain element of stillness in our lives to know what is life and where it is going. Their car. And we will find a car, a house, within our mind, which is not a temporary house, which is our permanent resort. So what happens at death? We wander. We collapse. The mind collapses in itself and it becomes a small light in itself, not visible to this eye, but visible to the mind's inner mind, to the inner dimension. And that travels where it is attracted to, where it wants to go. But it is guided by the main principle of hukum, of karam. So, depending on how stable the mind is, that much time it will take to take rebirth. The more stable it is, the longer it can wait. And the better options of rebirth, of where it is going to take birth, will happen. But Maharaj, one thing to be understood is that this stillness of the mind needs our effort. And if you know what I'm trying to tell you now, is that when we do kirtan, suppose, in dhyan, when we listen to the kirtan, and we do it, we don't have our eyes open, we do it meditatively, then it takes us into a thoughtless state, gives us those visions slightly. That's why Maharaj says, Gaviye suniye. Sing and listen. Man rakhiye pao. And when you find love, that is your home. Our home is love. Unconditional love. When there are no conflicts, where there is no doing, there is no need to do. It is our home. It's like we go out for work, we go out shopping, we go out to travel, we come back home and find rest. We don't do. We find peace, we find rest, we are relaxed. We need to waste least energy because we know where we need to go. It's our home. where we have dropped this movement. Mind drops its movement and reaches its inner car, Tirkar. And there something really miraculous is going to happen. Guru meets us there. Tirkar baiso har jan pyare, Satgur tumre kaaj savare. All our issues of life, all our issues are solved here. Kaaj savare, sab kaaj. Nothing remains incomplete. Nothing remains doubtful. Nothing remains painful. Nothing remains sorrowful. And then he gives us one more guarantee. Teri bakshna mete koi. Nobody intervenes in this presence of the Guru in our lives. Nobody can. If somebody can, then his or her authority is more than Guru. Sadgur ka dilasa. Guru confirms this, that nobody can intervene in this connection between Sikh and Guru, in the Tirkar. Teri bakshna mete koi. Nobody can wipe out this kirpa, this grace, this nadar, this hazuri, this presence. Life is not about the moving world. Life is not about the body. Life is not about all these relationships, these targets of life which we have created. These are to be left here, and we will go from here, leaving them. But life is finding a solution which is more permanent than the movement and tragedies and gifts of life which keep coming and going. Those wanderings of life cease to exist in that house where Guru and Sikh meet. There is no pain. And it doesn't require my doing. It requires me not to do. The world requires my doing. I have to go and buy a cardigan. I have to go to a shop or open the Amazon or search for it, and that's I have to do. That part of life is there. Yes, you have to do to survive, to exist, to live. But life is far more intense than this physical creation. So much more intense that the going away of this physical creation does not affect that part of life. It's a very far away concept for us to understand. But here, when we are visiting Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib's 350th year, it's important to understand what Guru's gift to us is, what Guru and Sikh's relationship means. It's not the mere physical meaning. We can define it like that. We can say Guru and my relationship is in the physical realm, and my physical needs and problems and desires, I will take intervention from the Guru, and that's it. We can do that. But that will be like giving away a diamond for a few pennies. Because this life's solutions, where everything is constantly changing, that this life doesn't have those answers for us. We are seeking permanent happiness. We are seeking that happiness which we can have forever, sada. And this life does not give us those guarantees. It does not give us that option. So, where and how? Karishma ji asks one question. Let me read this. The one question, the idea of not doing anything brings about an existential crisis where everything feels meaningless. Yes, and thus makes living life a bit dull. I wonder what's the point of having a brain, vivek, to vivek ko takat if we are advised to not use it at least majority of the times. Maybe finding a balance between the two is the answer. Well, the answer is like this. I'm talking about our spiritual life. Their non-doing, their perfection is already created. We don't have to participate in that creation. Our doing is of no consequence there. That life is a pure gift. Gur Prasad.
Recording stopped.
That
Recording in progress.
That life is a pure gift, Maharaj. It's a Gur Prasad. We need to do in the physical world, and we need to constantly do that. Even a spiritually awakened person will keep doing that. So let's not confuse the two planes. The doing takes me into this world, and giving up doing takes me into that world where peace, love, joy is my state of being. So when I say non-doing, not do anything, I don't mean it in the physical plane. I mean it in the spiritual plane. First of all, the most relevant question which I would like to address is, can I not do even for a minute? And when I say not do, means can I even stop thinking for a minute? I have no thought. Because the thought is my ego source. My ego is the source of my thoughts. And my mind exists beyond thoughts. And that is the perfect mind, created by the Creator, my source mind. Am I aware of that mind? To be aware of that mind, I have to be thoughtless for even a fraction of a second. And then the peace, the love, the answers, the solution to my problems, they all lie in that mind. Am I going to be able to do that? Not think. Non-thinking. Fir kar baiso. So this is what I hope you understood. You have a response. Okay. I'm glad you. If there is any issue, please. So what are we, Karishma ji, for all of us, what does our mind contain? Only thoughts, only the physical world, only our relationship, only the defined world. No. There is an undefined part of our life which we are not aware of. And that is where I am trying to draw our attention to. When Guru says, Jan Nanak bin apachine, mite na pram ki kai. Without knowing what is within our man, bin apachine, I cannot have the confusion go away, the doubt go away, the illusion go away. The illusion of life. We are actually living the illusion part of life, which will be gone in some time. And then what will remain of this? That's the other question I raised. We lived this life We struggled, we achieved, lost. In the end, what did we take away from here? Did anything come with us from this life? Because if it did, then it still is meaningful. But the experience of life shows that from this whole life which we have lived in the physical world, the pleasures, joys, pains, meetings, separations, all this chaos which we have lived through, what did we take away from here? If we took away something, then we need to share that. If we took away nothing from here, then where are we going and what are we doing? Bhagat Kabir says a beautiful thing. है जो दुनिया शहर मेला दस्तगीरी ना है. This life is a meeting of some few moments, शहर मेला, few hours. शहर is actually few hours. दस्तगीरी ना है, and you take away nothing from here. दस्तगीरी. Nothing comes in the hand which you can say, I have taken away, tangible. Then what is life? That's what I am driving to. That answer to this life lies in the stillness of life. Okay, one more question. Transcending ego is effort we need to put and work on mind, and if it naturally gets as grace gift when you sit in silence and meditate. Sometimes imagination is useful. Sometimes imagination is completely misses the point, because that world is beyond our imagination. What will happen in transcending the ego, and what effort we have to make? That's the whole question I'm trying to bring to you today. The ego can't be transcended by my effort. I can only still my mind. And my still mind I offer to the Guru. Maharaj says that सेव करत होवे नह कामी, तिसको होत परापत स्वामी. When the Sikh has offered himself, his mind to the Guru, only then he meets the Guru. And what is the mind? It's our ego. We cannot transcend the ego. We don't have the ability to do that. We only know life through ego. If we give up the ego, there will be no life for us. Transcending the ego is the Gur Prasad of life, Maharaj. The Guru does that. And how, when, where, that is not in our control. It will happen in a fraction of a second. But when, that depends on the Guru entirely. Then the other thing, Maharaj, that this ego mind which we carry within ourselves is our life. The Guru can only help us transcend this, but we need to still it. Therkar is what he is inviting us to. That is why he is saying that you still your mind. That when we offer our mind to our Guru, then the Guru graces us. When our ego mind, when we meet the Guru, when we make a barrier of our ego, we don't still our mind. The still mind, just think for a moment, when there are no thoughts in the mind, where is the ego? There are no thoughts, then who am I? That thought is also not there. There is no thought. There is no ego. So the still mind is egoless mind. And to drop this ego, the Guru makes us transcend it. He gives us the Guru Prasad. How, when, where is completely in Guru's hands. But Guru Prasad is the door to that life which has no death, which is Amrit, where there is no pain, no sorrow, no loss. That life is a different world of the mind. And there, wandering ceases and rest comes through samana, meaning merging with the source. मन बेचे सतगुर के पास, मन बेचे, बेच दे. That's how you meet the Guru. मन बेचे सतगुर के पास, ते सेवक के कारज रास. सेव करत होवे न कामी, तिसको होत परापत स्वामी. So non-doing, effortless creation is where we need to target. Still mind is where we need to go. With these thoughts, I culminate today's talk on not doing anything and meeting the Guru. If you have any questions, please put them up. We can discuss them. Otherwise, let's finish the session with Anand Sahib Maharaj. Somebody can volunteer. I'm glad, Karishma ji, we were able to explain to you. Maharaj Kirpa Karan. Vaheguru ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru ji ki Fateh. Thank you, everyone.